You're listening to World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world. And here are your hosts, Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.
Hi, my name is Ahonu, and along with my twin flame wife Aingeal Rose, we welcome you to this episode of the Honest to God series. While we were in Ireland this summer, we stopped in a small cafe in Kilcullen, County Kildare called An Tearmann. Tearmann, which in Irish means refuge, is a small coffee shop that was created by a loving group of volunteers called the Bridge Camphill Community. It is an intentional community that includes people of all abilities in an attempt to create a meaningful and sustainable life. Well, on that day, we talked about the blockages to our memory, that veil of forgetfulness that also prevents us from having a meaningful and sustainable life. But more about that in a little minute. Feeling very warmly welcomed, Aingeal Rose and I sat in a little patio area behind the kitchen where the volunteers provided good, simple food like cakes, the most wonderful scones you ever tasted, lunches and other goodies, using mainly organic and homegrown ingredients from their own gardens. Yet this was not the most important part of it. An Tearmann, a busy and meaningful meeting point for many locals, is run by a team that includes people of many abilities. It provides the threshold across which the Bridge community meet and welcome the wider community of Kilcullen and beyond. Now, most communities like this are the home to both people with special needs and volunteers who live, learn and work in relationships based on mutual care and respect for each other. It's where labels like normal or disabled lose their significance. This place puts it all into perspective. It's no ordinary coffee shop, and as far as a sense of being needed goes, it's hard to beat the satisfaction of being served by a special needs person with the widest smiles you've ever seen. Along with the volunteers, they all share responsibility for all the tasks and activities of day-to-day life with each other. They are inspired by Christian ideals, I guess, and the impulse of community building as articulated by Rudolf Steiner. It's based on the acceptance of the spiritual uniqueness of each human being, and they actually invite people to wander around their gardens and their farm. It's an organic farm that's operated on organic principles, and because of that, we bought all our vegetables and fruit there during the summer period. It's a really, really beautiful and caring little community, located on a unique patch of land in the heart of Kilcullen, right beside the River Liffey. And you'll all be familiar with the River Liffey because that's the river on which the Guinness Brewery sits on its banks, founded at St. James's Gate in Dublin in 1769. Well, as we sat in the beautiful little patio of the Camphill Community Cafe that day by the river, with the kitchen noises of plates and knives and forks and pots and pans clattering in the background, and the butterflies from their organic garden fluttering around us, we wondered if it would be too noisy to discuss this principle, the veil of forgetfulness, and the possibility that we might have inbuilt into us a wonderful potential to remember our true, divine, organic selves. Aingeal Rose placed the voice recorder midway between us on the small breakfast table. It's here that we explore this ancient flaw in our capacity, this source of guilt, this concept of the veil of forgetfulness that affects us all. So please do stay with us in this short unraveling and enjoy the virtual aroma of the breakfast coffee as it wafts across the airwaves to you. Seemingly, when we're born, we are born with this veil of forgetfulness already in place. I often wondered what exactly was this veil of forgetfulness and what form did it take. I'm not sure if physiologically it's actually a little organic film that divides the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Maybe we should have had only one sphere for a brain in the first place. Maybe this veil is all around us. Maybe it's in the air, in the ether, in the atmosphere. Perhaps it's in the energy grids of the earth, or it could be even in our DNA. Whatever form it takes, it certainly prevents full memory of our divinity, full communication with God, full capacity of the human potential, and it prevents us from accessing that part of our minds that knows God. Obviously, this veil of forgetfulness has been with us for a long time too. It's been so long, centuries, eons even, that we've built up what we now know as karma. It seems, in trying to understand it, we must go back before all that. It seems to when we originally came in with intention to this planet, or to this galaxy, or the universe, or wherever, and we had full memory of the Godhead. At some point, we must have had full awareness of our purpose, and our intention, and our abilities. Can we remember what that feels like? There are many people in the metaphysical, spiritual community these days that are looking at the makeup of words. Certainly, as an artist, I've been working with the frequency of sound for quite some time on my gallery website at ahonu.com. And I use sound in the Spirit of Love project, and I use the sound of a person's family name in the family crest and ancestral healing art that I do. But what struck me about our subject today on the veil of forgetfulness, in terms of the frequency of a word, is the word veil. It transposes itself into evil and vice versa. It's also true that no matter what language you learn, or what tradition you were born into, or what your first language is, all words always carry a frequency that have meaning to you. You get your own interpretation of them, of course, that brings the meaning and understanding for you. But to help our understanding now, there are words that we have to look at, and today we're looking at this veil of forgetfulness. If you take the word forget, for would mean prior to or before. It is prior to getting or realizing something. So here we are in ignorance, prior to us getting anything. This is what forgetfulness is. Then, if you also look at the other side of that coin, the remembering, remember. Member is being a member of a community, and here we are conveniently sitting in the Bridge Camphill Community in Kilcullen. And as a member of this community, you're entitled to all kinds of things, including organic vegetables and all sorts of wonderful treats in their deli, and in their cafe, and in their food store. And by extension, as a member of the human community of earth life itself, you are entitled to all the benefits of a divine spiritual being of God's source creation and the abundance of everything the earth has to give. It is already given, or perhaps it's appropriate now to use the word forgiven. Forgiven. But we have somehow accepted that we are not members of the God community. We are told at every twist and turn that we are not members of the angelic realm, that we are lower than that. We are told that we are sinners. We've been told we're not worthy. We are told that abundance is not for us, that we are not the chosen people, that we have a veil over us, and that that veil is evil. And we've accepted it all. Today, as we talk about the veil of forgetfulness, we are in stark realization of how this veil limits our brain potential. And let's look again at that word veil, this time without transposing it. We understand that when we're born, we are born seemingly without the memory of God. We are born without having any recollection whatsoever of the glory, of the joy, or the happiness, or the feeling of connection, or the certainty of God's love. Instead, we're landed in the midst of chaos and uncertainty and disarray, just like the veil, V-E-I-L, of forgetfulness we find ourselves in, or the V-A-L-E, the veil of tears. Let's also look at the word forgiven. Again, the word starts with for or before and finishes with given. So it is before given. This means that it's always before given, before the event. In other words, we never committed any sin that needed to be forgiven at all. So the forgiveness of this sin, and I'm using sin in inverted commas, is not in fact in need of any kind of therapy or technique or anything to resolve it. It may be just a case of simply realizing that we are all innocent. In other words, it's us just talking about this today, that I know I certainly didn't commit any original sin, and I don't believe that you did either. It's my opinion that this was the original sin. This was the lie, the evil that placed a veil in front of our forgiven godliness. This twist of truth that has been blamed on each one of us, individually and of course collectively. For me, the more serious sin is that we've accepted it all. We've accepted it as some kind of a blotch or a black mark on our souls. We believed in guilt and shame, and we have paid a hefty price ever since. Have you ever considered for a second that in truth, we might all be innocent? When religions talk about that original sin, they say we committed it. It wasn't that we committed anything. It's that we are subject to forgetfulness. If anything is to be a sin, this is it. But you and I didn't commit it. When you consider what an affliction our loss of memory is, that is the sin that I am referring to. What fixes this sin is not a priest waving holy water over you. It's not praying ceaselessly to some punishing God for mercy. It's not doing rounds and rounds of penance. Just for a moment, think of the possibility that if you could come in born on earth with full memory of the Godhead, wouldn't you come in with an incredible, powerful remembrance of pure love? Wouldn't you be full of a powerful certainty? Wouldn't you have an amazing disposition? Wouldn't you have come in invincible? Wouldn't you be all-knowing? Wouldn't you have come in with such awesome certainty and creativity? And wouldn't you be here now with an amazing, unbridled love for your brothers and sisters and for all life everywhere? I now believe that this potential must be available to all of us at some place, at some time, at some level of understanding. And why not now? Right here, right now. It might be just a case of simply choosing it. We just might already have the wherewithal to access it. So, we've come into the realization that yes, something in our past has been preventing us from stepping into our own power in some way. Some veil of forgetting, something forgotten, but all the time forgiven. It's now lifted. Because realizing that in itself is all that's needed to begin to accept the birthright of our amazing creativity and potential. In other words, that was then. This is now. I now take responsibility for my part in the forgetfulness. Like the ancient Hawaiian principle of Ho'oponopono, if I see a problem that I think is outside of me, it must in fact be inside me too. In this way, I forgive myself for forgetting who I am. I forgive myself back to God. I forgive myself for being asleep and forgetting. I acknowledge that I was party to the grand deception. I forgive to those who lied to me in their own blindness. I accept their forgiveness of me. I accept their innocence too. And I accept your forgiveness. And I accept your innocence too. Aingeal Rose and I are blessed by your willingness to heal with us too. We are grateful this opportunity came up to explore our participation in the weaving of the Veil of Forgetfulness. And we are grateful to the Bridge Camphill Community, whose wonderful space in Newbridge, County Kildare in Ireland spawned this discussion into awareness. As we sat on the patio of the cafe, sipping the last dregs of our Colombian coffee, the morning sunlight glanced off the River Liffey, flickering through the trees. It was the light of hope. It was the light of light. It was the light of awareness. We understand now that from this moment we say no to any further participation in the game of memory loss. We choose now to remember our godliness. We choose now to reconnect with our soul's purpose. We choose now to realign with our divinity. The sunlight caught Aingeal Rose's eyes, making them sparkle like diamonds. Yes, we had formed a website one time called Diamond Sun. The synchronicity was telling. I took her by the hand and I looked deep into her sparkles. The words came to me slowly, stuttering, but certain sure. For the part of me that perceives myself as separate, I accept responsibility for perpetuating the lies. I am sorry for all or any perceived hurt I may have caused to you and to all life everywhere by participating in this ego game of forgetfulness. I am sorry that I actually believed I could be separate from God, that I could be guilty of something I didn't do. I am sorry for all the judgments I made about you, and I am sorry that heretofore I have not loved you in my full capacity as a son of God, and I accept your forgiveness of me. So as a special needs member of staff came to wipe down the tables and prepare for the lunchtime rush, he beamed in total joy in his service to us. We held our love close. We savoured the moments of being fully aware of the light of God in our lives. And as that waiter left, Aingeal Rose picked up the voice recorder and held her finger over the stop button. And before she turned off the recorder, she said to you, our precious listeners, we are touched by your listening. We are grateful for your attention to us today. Now, we all know how to love.
You have been listening to Aingeal Rose and Ahonu on World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world.
Years of research, thousands of profound statements, hundreds of sessions, miles of transcripts, months of listening, a vast archive of personal power and spiritual awareness awaits you. Join worldofempowerment.com today, a members-only website of practical spirituality for your fast-changing world. worldofempowerment.com. Years of research, thousands of profound statements, hundreds of sessions, miles of transcripts, months of listening, a vast archive of personal power and spiritual awareness awaits you. Join worldofempowerment.com today, a members-only website of practical spirituality for your fast-changing world. worldofempowerment.com.